Hi, guys. This is Carol with Needing a Meeting. Guess what? I went into the other show. I went into the one that I did as a test with Steve, and I'm just going away, just thinking I'm doing a meeting. And I'm like, nobody's here. Why is nobody here? Okay. So I'm late, but I'm not late because I'm in the other meeting. Let me get the chat open here and get everybody in here. Oh, did you catch any of that, Christy?
No, I mean, I caught the chat, but I'm just now coming in.
Okay. Okay, well, I thought I had done another scheduled thing. I wanted to go in do a thing with Steve as an experiment thing. And I thought I was in this meeting just going away, just doing so I'm doing a show, but nobody's there. I'm like, why is nobody here? Why is there no eyeball? So I'm late, but I'm not late because I've been doing a show all this whole time. But
well, I was chatting it up with everybody. I was like, oh, what's going on? Oh, we were talking about the guy in Maine.
Yeah, they found him.
Yeah. So everybody seems to be good in the chat, and Candy's good. I love your shirt, by the way. That's
Thank you. It's a plain old Jane shirt, but since when I wear a plain Jane shirt, if I'm doing a show, I like to have a little brooch or some kind of little something.
That is so cool. Yeah, and then I'm over here with the shirt half on.
Well, Candy, I'm so glad because like I said, there I was thinking I'm doing a show, and I was on the wrong show. I'd scheduled another little thing that I wanted to experiment with Steve. Oh, okay.
That's funny. Hey, I mean, we've all ended up talking to ourselves on the phone before, right? I mean, it's the same thing.
Well, so I was going to share a video from one of the drama commentator channels that I follow. His name is Peter Monn, and he got sober the same year as me, 94.
Oh, good. Okay.
But it was later in the year, it was, yeah. So he's 20, not quite 29 years, I guess. He got sober at the end of 94. So at the end of 24, he'll have his 30. I'll have my 30 in February. So anyway, I've always, he talks about his sobriety on his drama commentary stuff, but I have never actually heard his sobriety story, and I've always been curious. So I was playing his video and stopping and commentarying, and because it's supposed to be a reaction video thing,
Right.
So anyway, that's what was happening. Let's see if we can get Peter going here. Here we go.
Hi, Zelda. Good to see you. I don't know if Steve went home.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let's get Peter Monn going here. All right. And here we go. Come on, Peter.
It's Peter, and I'm back. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. You guys know the gig. So every day on Snapchat and Twitter and direct messages and emails and all that kind of stuff, I get asked over and over and over again, when are you going to talk about your addiction and your recovery story? So I thought, listen, it's time for me to talk about it. Everybody in my world knows about it. It's something it's something I've always been very, very open about. So I thought it's time for me to share my experience on YouTube and to talk about it a little bit. Really, just so you guys get to know me better, but also so maybe I can just help one or two people out there. Let me tell you that my story is very, very long, but it ended when I was 22 as far as my addiction. My recovery story goes on forever, and actually it's really interesting because on December 17th of this year, if I'm still sober, I will have 22 years, and that's half of my life, so I will have been sober for half of my life.
That was the first thing that I wanted to do a commentary on. I was 28 when I went into rehab. And so I have 29 years sober, and of course, obviously I didn't start drinking at birth, but I have more sobriety years than I had years without, years with, drinking and using. So that's, I had not really thought of that until he pointed his time out.
Right.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yes, I love his energy.
I do too. So much.
If I stay sober until December 17th of this year, which I'm, fingers crossed, I'm hoping that I will. What's interesting is that when you look back on my life, like my drinking started very, very young for me. I grew up in a family of drinkers where, not just mother and father, but aunts, uncles, friends, everybody had cocktails in the evening. The drinking was very glamorous. It was on sailboats, like on a weekend in Michigan.
That was another thing that I wanted to comment on was, I was born in the mid 60s and, all the movies, someone's carrying around a cocktail, a little glass, a little flute of champagne, not a flute, but the other little glasses or their cocktail, and they're pouring their drinks and putting the rocks in and all that, rocks meaning ice. Hello.
Yeah.
And, it was so much a part of the culture in the 60s and the 70s. The broken rib story. Oh, you mean from Marilyn's live the other night with Dazed but Not Confused? Is that what you're talking about, Candy's life? Sure.
Steve wants you to
It was like, at 5 o'clock after work. It was like sitting on the front porch drinking, a 6-pack of beer. It was like everything.
Do what now?
Oh, Steve sent a message, said contact him through text message. I didn't know if you've seen that.
Okay. I sent him the text. I sent him a text like he'd asked me to.
So it really made it glamorous then at that time to be drinking and carrying around a drink. How interesting.
Yeah, that was big time a part of the culture. And they made smoking glamorous too, That had been going on a while. So let's see here. I thought I had sent Steve the link. I guess I had not. I don't know who I sent that to then. I sent it to somebody, but it wasn't him. I guess I'll hear about it later.
Or some random person will pop on and be like, here I am.
All right, Steve, I sent your link via text. I thought I had sent you a link earlier, but I guess I sent it to somebody else.
Huzzah.
Oh, is right.
Everything about it looked fun to me. And I grew up in this environment where I very much wanted to be a drinker. It looked very fun to me to or sit and watch my mom listening to albums like Fleetwood Mac and Judy Collins and Bob Dylan with the headphones on and just sobbing and drinking wine or drinking beer. And so for me, the whole idea of desperation or of emotions or feelings or this whole culture of use and abuse was very, very attractive to me. And one thing you must know while I'm telling this story is that I got sober December 17th of 1994. My mom got sober June 2nd the following year. So she and I got sober almost exactly 6 months apart.
I love that we share sobriety years. 1994, good year to get sober.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's...
She was 51 and I was 22 when I got sober. So, and she did not get sober because of me.
What?
I was just going to say, I think that's interesting how he related his mom listening on headphones, drinking wine and sobbing while listening to music, and that whole, I never thought of it that way, because for me, music is it is an emotional release, but I wouldn't think to kind of that was an interesting point. I found that's very interesting.
Yeah. I never really equated the two either. It was, unless I was going out to hear live music, but, one guy was telling a story about how if he came home and his mom was drinking and had Merle Haggard or George Jones, he's like, uh-oh. She was pissed off at either her husband or boyfriend or something for cheating on her or something. It's like, uh-oh, I better run.
I can kind of see that with those two.
of me, okay? She got sober because whether or not she lived one more day or 100 more years, she didn't want to live her life, affected by alcohol anymore. That's her story. So my mom passed away 8.5 years ago, and she would have had that June 2nd had she stayed sober, 13 years sober. So the last 13 years of our life together were very much combined in a life of sobriety and recovery where we talked about it all the time. And it was the coolest ever to have a family member in sobriety. It just was like this unwritten language that we spoke between the two of us. My story started, so when I was very, very young, wanting to be that drinker, stealing sips of alcohol from my parents, drinking their things. I never once can remember, I can remember drinking, like I'm tasting it right now in my throat, like a gin and tonic and not liking it, but like beer, I did love the taste of beer and wine from the get-go.
My very first time drinking, it was the 4th of July, and I think I was like 15. Pretty sure I was 15. And my parents had gone somewhere, and they had not come back in time to, take me anywhere to celebrate the 4th of July. And so I got really pissed off at them, and I just raided their liquor cabinet. And I don't think I'd ever had a drink in my life until that point.
Oh, did you get really sick?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I had a hide-a-bed chair. It was really old. It was the old 50s, 60s type upholstery. And
Yeah.
that's what I slept in with it folded out. It felt folded out just like a couch, but it was a chair.
Sure.
And I passed out in that little chair, in my little hide-a-bed chair. And yeah, I woke up. Yeah. The arm of my chair got it.
Oh,
And
no.
you know what? I've always wondered, did my dad really not know that I had done that? And,
Mhm.
or did he just know and choose to ignore it, figuring that, the thing of waking up, sick,
Right.
was punishment enough?
Was
I
enough.
don't know, because he's not around to ask anymore.
Right,
I wish he
right.
was. I wish I could ask him.
Oh, Boone's Farm. Oh, God, that's brutal stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ew.
Woo!
Get-go. I just did. And I can remember like stealing a beer when I was like 6 or 7 and just absolutely loving everything about it. And then getting busted with the neighborhood kids because we stole some beer and cigarettes from my mom. Everybody knew it was my mom, so when we got caught, everybody called me drinker, smoker. I can remember riding bikes down the street and everybody being like drinker, smoker. And so from a very, very young age, I was shamed and guilt tripped about drugs and alcohol. And I didn't even have any conception of what that was about, on top of me being bullied because I was gay. So all of this together, you guys, was a huge mess. When I was 12, I had a very, very good friend of mine who lived one street over. We spent all of our time together. And he and I stole some alcohol, I think from his dad maybe. And we met these girls up at Mohawk Trails Elementary School, right up the street where I went to elementary school. And it was a beautiful summer night. I will never forget. We were probably 6th grade, so 12. And we met them and we all got drunk on this liquor. And I can remember that he was throwing up and I was swinging and the stars and the moon and everything looked gorgeous. And I thought, I want this feeling forever. I want this feeling forever, okay? I remember walking home and having to like have him over my shoulder, like one arm, because he couldn't make it home. He was so sick. And I just was like elated. And I can remember laying in bed that night and I just thought I saw something on the corner of my eye, spooks and ghosts. But I can remember like laying in his bed that night and thinking to myself, I want to feel like this for the rest of my life. And from there on, I just chased it all the time. Both of my parents always had full liquor cabinets. I would keep little seltzer bottles and I would fill them with alcohol. At my dad's house, I actually had a waterbed. Do we even do those anymore? And I can remember that, like, I used to tell my friends in high school, I called it the 4 corners of the earth. And each corner had a different seltzer bottle filled to the brim with some kind of alcohol. And I would just lay in my bed and, like, on a school night and just lay there and just get drunk as a skunk by myself. And so I very early on learned that I loved to drink by myself. I didn't have to share it with anybody. I could just kind of stumble into the bathroom, stumble into my bed.
I had wondered how it came to be because I know I'm pretty sure he's younger than I am.
Mhm.
I don't think he's older than me.
Mhm.
And I always wondered when he mentioned that he was, sober from the mid 90s, I was just like, what were you, 10 when
Yeah.
you started getting sober, you know? And well, no, he was very young when he started. I that never even occurred to me that, you know, he would have been going that hard at it when he was a kid. But I had been curious about that. I really had.
Well, and to be drinking on a waterbed, like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
My
oh,
bad.
I mean,
I loved that feeling of stumbling
oh,
around into
sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just saying, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
intense.
You.
just kind of passed out. It was euphoria to me. I absolutely loved it. It numbed all my emotions. It numbed all my feelings. It took all of those words of, you know, faggot, fag, pussy, all those kinds of words that I heard on a regular basis, and it numbed them for me in my head. I didn't have to feel them when I was drinking. Now at school, it was a different story.
That hurts me.
So later in high school, you know, all of my friends and I started drinking, and we drank a lot together in high school on weekends. Really more our junior, senior year. A lot of what they didn't know was that I was actually drinking a lot by myself much earlier than when we started drinking together. But we did. We drank a lot. I can remember one of our friends moved to Southern Indiana, and we would go down there on a weekend, and we would just get, trashed beyond belief, and drive home on Sunday afternoons just hungover for days, right? So very typical of other people in high school. When I got into college, I started smoking pot, and I kind of ran with, that's when I came out. I came out when I was 18. I immediately started going to gay bars and found my place. I found a group of guys that were a couple years older than me. They all smoked pot, they all drank, they all did stuff, different kinds of pills, ecstasy, all that kind of stuff. And so I did all that kind of stuff, you know? I tried it all.
The gay bar in our town was the most fun place to go. It just was.
I've never been to one, but I love that he said that he found his place. Like, I mean, I
love that
you know,
too.
to
Yeah.
really feel like you belong somewhere after
Right.
that long, you know, it's got to feel it's got to feel important. And Steve,
Yeah.
Jack Daniels and lime Kool-Aid. Oh,
You.
that sounds really intense. And Tammy, see, I'm thankful you don't drink anymore. She would put vodka in the tumbler. Well, I think Steve wins though. Between Boone Farms and Jack Daniels with lime Kool-Aid, I think
Yeah.
Steve gets the trophy on that one. Sorry.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah.
I loved it all. And I don't want to get into the whole boring facts of everything that I use, but I will tell you this, that from 18 to 22, what was casual drinking and maybe a Vicodin every once in a while and smoking some weed escalated very quickly. By the time that I was 22 and a half, my birthday is June 29th, so this would have been almost exactly 6 months after my birthday. By the time that I got sober, I was drinking a fifth and a half of Jack Daniels a day, 2 Colt 45 malt liquors. I was taking about 4 to 5 Vicodin a day, and I was smoking crack cocaine, and I was smoking weed all day long. Not even anybody around me really knew the extent of what it was going on. Some of my friends knew about the drinking, some of my friends knew about the weed, some of my friends knew about the pills, but nobody really knew the extent of all of it together. And the last night that I used, I don't really remember a whole lot from that night. I remember there was a bar in Indianapolis called the Vogue, and they used to have a gay night on Sunday nights. I remember smoking crack cocaine with a total stranger that I do not remember in the alley, and then coming inside and like throwing down like 3 drinks. I remember going to my friend's house. He took my keys. I got them back from him anyway, and I ended up driving home. The really weird thing, and this is like my spiritual piece of my story, is that I remember driving home, and I didn't have my hands on the steering wheel, and I can remember looking over at the passenger seat and like talking to somebody, but there was nobody there. And somehow that night I made it up to almost where I lived, and I actually drove through the backside of the kitchen of a Perkins restaurant, which is like a Denny's, if you don't know what that is. And they called the police, and I knew the police were coming. So I called my dad, and my dad, who had been my chief enabler all of my life and had rescued me from all kinds of legal situations, on and on and on, came out there and in a suit and tie at 5 a.m. in the morning. And he said to me, "Do you guys hear that car alarm going off?
Yeah.
Is that not so fucking annoying?" But he said to me, especially when I'm telling my serious story, He said, you can go to jail or you can go to prison, but I am done. And I had plea bargained down to Class D felonies, and I was looking at doing some prison time if I used on probation. And I was like, baby, I know this one ain't gonna make it in prison. I just know it. So of course I opted to go to treatment, right? And I went into treatment, and I was not serious at all. I remember slamming doors and being pissed off, and it just was so ugly. I was so consumed with the whole party life of the gay culture of going out. Every day, all I did was I spent my time talking on the phone to my friends, asking them where they were going, what they were doing, and checking in on an ex-boyfriend of mine. And at one point, my counselor came, and she hung up the phone, and she said, you're not making any more phone calls while you're here. And what's funny about her was she saved my life. I was in group one day, and she came and she goes, okay, so can we talk about your cocaine and your marijuana use? I go, I'm not here for that. She said, well, how much marijuana are you smoking a day? And I said, I don't know, about half an ounce. She goes, you smoke a half ounce a day? And I said, I smoke as much as everybody else does. She goes, you smoke a half ounce of marijuana a day? I said, listen, I'm not here for that. I'm here for the alcohol. I'm not here for the marijuana and the cocaine. I didn't come in here for that. I'm not dealing with that. She goes, well, listen, princess, when you're ready to talk about that shit, why don't you come back to group? And she kicked me out of group, which made me stay there even longer in treatment. So anyway, this went on. My first week, I was absolutely defiant in treatment. My second week, I learned to shut my mouth. My third week, I started listening and participating. And my fourth week, I got absolutely terrified that I was going to get out and I wasn't going to know how to stay clean and sober. And I was like, I knew the party was over. My dad said he was no longer going to help me financially or emotionally or anything. So I knew that I was totally screwed, and I was terrified. I had no idea at 22 years old how to take care of myself, financially, emotionally, physically, anything. I had no idea what I was going to do. And my only good friend at the time, who I drank with all the time, she said, listen, she said, you have a really serious problem. And she was living in Kansas at the time. She said, I cannot come back there and enable this anymore. I'm scared to death that you're going to die from this. Every one of my friends was the same way. They were like, we're terrified. You know that you have a serious problem when your friends are scared for you.
Wow. And that's not the norm for friends who are in the life to
No, they want to keep you in the life with them.
Yeah, those are friends now. That's a true friend. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it was a blizzard that year, and I was stuck in treatment, and it was New Year's Eve, and I wanted to go to this dance that they had, the sobriety dance. And I asked my counselor, I said, can I have my hairstylist come in and cut my hair? She goes, no, princess. And because you asked, you can stay back from the dance. I was so pissed, right? And I was out of cigarettes, and so I was like, the only way to get cigarettes at that point was if you went to an outside 12-step meeting. So I went to this outside meeting, and was not serious about it. It was one of the first 12-step. I've been to 12-step meetings before, but it was the very first one that was kind of sober and taken seriously. I'd shown up to a lot of them under the influence. Ooh. And so anyway,
manage that.
I was sitting there in this meeting, and this old woman got up, and she had this big, huge jar of pickles. I was like, what the fuck is she going to do with these pickles? And, excuse me. And she told this horrific story about, all this crazy stuff that had happened in her life. And I was like, my life will never, ever end up there. And I will never forget this as long as I live. The end of her story, she looked at this jar of pickles and she put her hand on top of it. And she looked right at me, right in the camera, as if I'm looking at you right now, if you're somebody that relates to the story. And she said, and that's why I carry these pickles with me every time I tell my story. Because I used to be a pickle, or I used to be a cucumber, but now I'm a pickle, and once you get pickled, you can never go back. And I started bawling, and I knew instantly, I was like, it's over. It's over. I either have the choice to fix my life, or I'm going to be dead. And it's time for me to fix my life. And on the way home that night, we were driving through this area where there was lots of food places like Taco Bell and McDonald's, and the driver, the treatment program, he said, do any of you want me to stop somewhere? And I was looking at this place, I was looking at Taco Bell and McDonald's, and I was just in this moment of this amazement and awe, and I was like, my life is changing. My life, and I'm looking at these fast food places, and in the background, they were talking about women being raped and dragged through the streets in Herzegovina. This is 1994. And I thought to myself, because I was born in a different part of the world, my life is so different. Why me? I am no different. And I thought, I need to find some gratitude in my life. I need to start taking this life that has been given to me so preciously, and I need to make the most of it. And so on that moment, I decided that whatever it took, I was going to do to get drugs and alcohol out of my life. Whatever it took to stay clean and sober, I was going to do that. And I have done that to this day. And I have done everything that people have told me to do. Some of it I did resisting and fighting, kicking and screaming the whole way. But today I have the most amazing, amazing life. This is not a thing where you go in treatment and you come out and you're clean and sober. This is a lifelong change that you will make in your life, okay? This is a different way to live your life. It's a different way of looking at the world. It's a different way of looking at every little thing. And what you realize after a long time is that the way that I thought and the way that I acted and all that kind of stuff had absolutely nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. None of it.
That's
okay?
right.
When I was like 6 years old or 12 years old on a playground, feeling euphoric because I was drunk for that moment that nobody was calling me faggot and nobody was like pushing me in the hallway or making me feel less than I am. That's what that drugs and alcohol were doing. It's all about my thinking. It's all about the way that I process and I look at the world and my perspective of the world. And that's really what my addiction about is today. And so if I don't want to have that outlook in the world and I want to be forgiving and I want to be grateful, and I want to have this amazing life that I can be, just wake up every day and be like, oh my God, like, this is so awesome that I'm living this life. And I feel like that on a daily basis. And so somebody asked me recently, you said something about the difference between sadness and depression. For me, depression is a mental illness, okay? And I don't think it's to be taken lightly at all. So I never joke with that word and say I'm feeling depressed. If I'm feeling sad, it's an emotion that will pass. It's an emotion that I have to deal with and I have to take seriously. Sometimes when I'm sad or when I'm too happy, I have to take a look at those emotions and I have to go, okay, what's really going on with me? Because those things can affect me wanting to use. Today, I have to be very careful of my addiction because it comes out in other ways as well. It comes out in eating, it comes out in sex, it comes out in relationships, it comes out in gambling, it comes out in shopping, it comes out in obsessing over making too many YouTube videos. It can come out in any area of my life and I have to be very, very careful of that. But today I have an amazing, amazing life. I realized that drugs and alcohol were muting my existence. One of my very, very good friends came to my apartment. I had the door propped open. I don't even know why, but thank God because she's the one that really got me going into treatment. I will never forget what she said to me. And she came into my apartment and I had this huge ashtray turned over on my bed. There were probably about 150 cigarette butts in it. And I had a half-drank bottle of Jack Daniels in my hand. She came in my room and she looked at me and she goes, Peter, I'm really, really worried about you. She goes, this looks like a bad French movie. And she goes, are you trying to kill yourself? And I said, I don't really even care at this point. I said, I don't really care if I live or die. What's the point? And I look back on that, and as a person that never really has had suicidal thoughts in my mind, I was suicidal. I was trying to kill off parts of myself by drugs and alcohol, and I didn't even realize it. And I remember she was the first person that called me when I got into treatment. She was sobbing, and she said, I'm so happy that you're there. She said, please stay. Please stay. You need this so much. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm like, I could start getting real emotional. And I'll never forget because she said, is there anything you need me to bring you? And I said, please, will you bring me some shampoo and conditioner? And she brought me some Aveda shampoo and conditioner because I was such a snot at 22.
He's had some coffee today.
But anyway, I mean, such a different person today, and I'm so thankful for everything that I've been given, by staying clean and sober. It's an amazing life. And so I hope in some way that my story has impacted you. I hope you've learned something a little bit more about me, and I hope that maybe, this will help you get on your journey as well. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Wow. Oh my goodness. What an amazing life. What an amazing story. And it's not a story, it's the truth. It's just wow.
We all take very, very, very different paths, but we all end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what I thought was interesting? I mean, he was talking about getting sober from from serious drugs and alcohol and that whole thing. But what caught me with what he said was, I knew I was going to die in that situation. And that is exactly how I felt dealing with the anorexia and the divorce and everything that was going on with me. So I think it's interesting that sometimes it gets to that point where you have to realize your mortality. Really
I had a thing. I had a thing going on in my life that, this thing kept telling me all the time, you're not going to live to see 30. You're not going to live to see 30.
Yeah.
And at the end of my career as an active user and drinker, I was just like, shut the F up and just get it over with, will you?
Mhm.
Stop threatening and do the thing. I am
Mhm.
tired, you know?
Wow.
I'm just tired. I was a size 0, size 2. Normally I run size 6 to 8.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Christy. I'm sorry.
No. And that was really it. Was just, I mean, I think that that's interesting. A lot of people's stories I've heard have been either their friends saying, I'm very afraid for your life, or,
Yeah.
someone personally realizing. And I think it's interesting how private it is. Like he talked about his addiction and how he was doing so much more
Yeah.
than what he was even sharing with anybody.
Yeah.
And that I hear that a lot too in people's stories.
Yeah.
You
I think that part of the thing that kept me from relapsing, even though I didn't go to rehab voluntarily,
Mhm.
is that, at some point I realized, okay, I wasn't supposed to live to see 30, and I was living my life accordingly.
That was a lie out of the pit of
I
hell.
mean, why am I not just gonna do whatever the hell I want?
Right.
If I'm not gonna live to tell about it anyway.
Right.
And so then when it got to the point of, well, I'm alive now,
Mhm.
and how do I want to live? I really had to examine that question
Mhm.
big time,
Mhm.
and I still have to examine that question. Truth
Well,
be
I
told.
think everybody has to continually examine that question, because we age and we change and we go through things, and my dad used to always say, the day you get it all figured out is maybe your
It'll
last.
the rules will change, the
You
game will change, everything will
Yeah.
change, and
The
you'll
Well,
have
day you
to
get it
adapt.
figured out is the day they're throwing dirt over you.
yeah, that's my dad's like, you dad, don't be in a bit too big of a hurry to get it all sorted out. But I think it was interesting. There was something that I was going to say to what you had just said, and it left, but it was a really good point that you brought up. If I remember it all, I'll come back to it.
What was it in relation to?
Well, what you just said, you were talking about
Examining that question, how do I want to live?
yes, that's it.
Okay.
So that was the same thing with me when I was coming out of anorexia for almost 30 years. Was when it got to the point where
30 years.
oh yeah. It was bad. It was really bad. Yeah.
Oh my word, sweetheart. I had no
Mm.
idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
The thing was, I didn't realize it was that long until I made a post in the Lifeboat about it. And
Really?
when I did the math, I was like, oh my,
Holy
like I
God.
spent more time battling that and dealing with that than I did anything else. I mean,
Wow.
there were points where it was like super, super low. Just
And
like,
in survival mode on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there was a period of 10 years that were really horrendous in my life. But I mean, everybody's had bad times. But what I was going to say was, on the other side of that, so my dad had passed away, my divorce was done, I had gotten off the medication that I didn't need for a mental illness I did not have, and I had to decide, like, the old version of Christy had died. So what was that all about? Like, did she die in vain? Did everything I went through, was it all in vain and for naught? And I was just going to, like, not take these tools and these skills and everything that I had learned and all of this stuff that I had done to go forward in a positive way. I really had to figure out, what does my life look like from here? On
Yeah.
every level, not just what does my life look with in relationship to food, but what
Yeah.
does it look like as a person, as a mom, as
Yeah.
a daughter, as you know, because there were really low points in in it. And so in some ways I do relate when you guys talk about, I had to figure out my life. Well, yeah, or it was, but it was, and I realized I get to write the rest of my story the way I want it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and you have control over that without being in survival mode.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of years. It was a lot to untangle in my mind.
God, again, I'm gonna defer to you guys and shut up because I just don't get it.
Well, I mean, it was, it was just a lot to untangle because I had to, a lot of it was my anorexia was tied to my inability to cope with things, and not because my parents hadn't taught me coping skills, but just because it was so it was just crazy. And so I had to learn all of that, but like I said, I got to decide who I wanted to be and what I wanted to what I wanted to be in life, and that was that was good.
Yeah.
Excellent, Carol. I was just going to suggest that this format works, and one of these days somebody's going to click on here, really needing help, and they're going to come on screen, and we're going to talk them off the ledge, just like we did with some other lady last week, and they're going to need help, and that's why I think you should keep this format the way it is.
Okay.
I know you were trying something with me earlier, and I had no idea.
I don't know what that means. Oh no, my Steve.
Oh. That's so confusing.
We have up to 4 Steves that come on here.
I think it's amazing.
It's pretty great. It's like, it's a chick flick and then 4 Steves.
Yeah, it's a chick flick and then 4 Steves.
Instead of Charlie's Angels, it's like Steve's Angels.
Yeah, my monthly cycles are going to start hooking up with your guys's now.
Well, no, they won't, because the factory's closed over here.
Yeah, right. Mine too.
Well, what's your update, Steve? I see you're still in there. Somebody was asking how you were doing earlier.
Well, I finally got a concrete plan on how we're going to approach this.
Okay.
And we're going to get the knee surgery done first, get strong, get mobile, get ambulatory, and then they're going to put me on the heart list. I've been discussed in committee 3 or 4 times, and I didn't even know about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Steve.
So all I've got to do is
answer to prayer.
It's unbelievable, and they thought I was trying to circumvent the system because no one actually had ever told me that was the plan. So when I was like talking about getting a heart, they thought I was being impatient when really I just didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Now, did you tell them that?
Pardon me?
Did you tell them that you didn't know?
Yes.
And what was their response?
I don't know how you couldn't have. There's one doctor here that really
oxycodone. Hello.
Yeah, there's one doctor that really doesn't believe a whole lot that I say, for some reason. But anyway,
Unbelievable.
They kept me for another day because another bug has somehow gravitated toward my wound. And now I have four different bacterias in my infection.
Oh my God.
And they're treating me with, here's my IV. They're treating me with IV antibiotics tonight. and liquids, and I'm probably going home tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Good.
And if we get home early enough, we'll try to set that up.
Okay. And if you're too tired to do it, just keep me posted how you're doing and if you're ready for that and all that good stuff. Because
Yeah, I'm ready for it right now.
oh,
But
okay.
you know, Miss Vicky's the X factor in this. She's
Okay.
got to be ready, or you know, this is something that comes to the three of us naturally. She's got to psych herself up to do it. But then when she gets talking, you're not going to be able to stop her.
Well, that's
I'm sorry if you're watching, babe. No, she's not. She's just punching out about now.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Nice.
Well, wow. That's amazing.
Thank you, Candy. So
Big.
yeah, now I have something to work for. Now
Yeah.
now I have a pointed direction to go in.
Yeah.
Right.
And my God, just give me the rules up front and let me play by them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I wouldn't worry about that one doctor that is cranky.
The seventh is got a. I think he's got a plan to figure out the Steves.
My Steve is Honey. He's guilty. Lemmy is Lemmy. And Stevie's either Tin Man or
Tin
Steve.
Man, because I don't have a heart. If I only had a heart.
Oh my gosh.
That's so good.
All right, I'll go with it. I'll go with it.
Oh.
Now I want to be Stevie.
Oh no, I want to be Stevie. I want to be Stevie. Candy, you can't be. I'm hijacking it.
Y'all are gonna have to duke that one out.
All right. But anyway, I'm sorry for coming on late and disturbing things. But that what was his name? Paul Monn?
Monn. He's a YouTube drama commentator.
Oh gosh, he had about 9 espressos before he came on the air, but he was completely lucid and understand everything a word he said, and he grew up in Michigan, so I'm going to try to find out where and see if we have any common stomping grounds. He's my age. He's born in the mid 60s, so was I. So I mean,
Born in the mid 60s is me. I think he may be closer to my son's age. My son, not my son. My husband's age. My husband's 4 years younger than me.
how old are you?
He was 22 when he got sober in 94.
How old are you now, Carol?
I'm 58.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You guys, I thought you were like 51. Like,
Cool.
I will give it to Steve Molesky every single
Always
time.
good to,
Okay, Candy, sweet one, and I get Stevie.
That so fits, Candy.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband was born in 1969.
It was summer of '69.
One of my
Yeah.
Right. Brian Adams.
I love that.
So yeah, I robbed the cradle.
My wife is a year and 2 weeks older than me, so it's not that big of a deal.
Oh, it's by the time you get to be this age, it's kind of half a dozen one six the other, but you know.
Right.
When she gets to the point in a discussion when she says listen to your elders, I've had enough of that discussion.
Now I'm older than Michael, but just by a year. But
A bunch of cradle robbers.
yeah, he likes to, he's like, you're my old lady. I'm like, no. No, I'm not.
Stevie, you are the awesome one. I'm just getting better for knowing you, my brother.
Oh,
Oh, you're so
Agreed.
sweet.
Same here.
it's very
I'm gonna call you later after the boat. How's that,
Who are you calling?
Candy?
Okay, good. Good.
nice.
Yeah. Lordy. I'm sorry for what you're going through there in Maine, Candy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
I didn't even know
I
you mentioned
when I
something.
heard that the guy was military trained, I knew he was gonna end up being on the run for a long time, or he was gonna take his own life.
Yeah.
I being military trained myself, I knew
Yeah.
that was his only two options in his mind. And ask Candy, I said it too. I said it 2 days ago. He's going to end up taking his own life.
Yeah. And he did. Mm.
I mean,
Not before
anytime,
a lot of damage to a lot of families. And
you know, the military winds us up, but they don't figure out how to unwind us after we're done.
Right? Right. That ought to be part of the discharge process. Honest to Pete.
No kidding, it should be. All you're worried about is finding all your equipment and bringing it back in.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am. You're
actually,
going to do the push?
disgusting.
Okay.
Lene, I believe Tommy said in his post that it is going to be. I think I've seen a post on YouTube that said he was going to be
lift
back
that up.
tonight. So
Yeah, I can.
I'm getting a IV push right now, which means I'm getting an IV injection. So, hey, you guys, say hello to the best nurse in the world, Stella.
Hello, Stella.
hi, Stella.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking such good care of our Stevie.
Yes.
Welcome. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
I want for nothing when she is on duty.
Oh, that's wonderful. Good nurses are so important. I mean, they really, really are.
This place is loaded with them, but
That's great.
but there are some that are a lot easier to admire than the others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seventh, my wife is 9 years older. Ooh, sassy.
Who said that? I can't read it.
Seventh.
Seventh son.
Steve Guilty. No way. You got a torpedo from the SS Menopause headed your way too.
No, yeah. He said his wife was 9 years old. Is that your wife that passed, Steve? I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve is that the wife that passed? Hi, Lemmy.
Hey, how are ya? We were talking about the Four Steves. It's a chick flick and the Four Steves. Isn't that kind of nuts? Who would have thought? What are the odds? What are the chances?
I'm 8 years older than my man. There's Steves and there's cradle robbers. That's it.
Indeed.
Steve's and the Cradle Robbers. That sounds like the name of a band.
I have a goat. I have one of my girl goats named Stella.
Steve and the Cradle Robbers. That's if I ever start a band, that's the name of it.
I know. I was going to say that's a band name right there.
A side dish of candy too.
Yeah, with special guest Sweet Girl.
Nice.
Indeed.
Oh God, we are so weird.
We are. And
But that's why this works.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, how are you going to come through what we came through and not be weird?
Steve Hartman, my best friend of 42 years, just logged on.
Make
Well,
it
hello there, Steve Hartman.
Hey, Steve. Hi. Nice.
That is my best friend of 14 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yay.
Well, welcome in,
Well,
Steve.
welcome, Steve. My husband is Steve, and then we've got
You can call him Stosh.
Stosh.
Yep.
my Steve.
No.
No, Steve Hartman.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that's the way we greet ourselves. We say, "All right, man, I'll talk to you later." Hey, and that's goodbye.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, guilty.
how are you? How are you doing?
Today,
Year.
wow, 7th. Wow.
Are you doing
19.
okay?
I bet today is not an easy day.
Today is the anniversary. Good God.
Mm. Well, what can we
Oh,
do?
brother,
We
we
pray
are
for you
praying for you so much.
right now, Steve.
Yeah.
7th.
Pardon me. What'd you say, Carol?
I was asking 7th son what he needs.
Yeah, what do you need?
Yes.
Maybe call me after the show and we can get into some prayer and just you can let off some steam with me or tears or whatever it is you need.
Yeah. Wow.
So if you do some quick math, Steve, I was 15 when I met Steve Hartman, and I'm 57.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And he's nursed me through alcoholism, and I've nursed him through 2 divorces. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that.
I went through a divorce once. I don't recommend it. Yeah, no, they're ugly.
No, but I'm closer to him than I am my real brothers. It's I would trust him with the lives of my children, grandchildren, my full wallet full of hundreds,
Nice.
which has been like 30 years since I've had one of those. But this guy is an amazing friend.
Good.
Those
Well,
are
good. I'm glad you've got a friend like that.
You
I
know,
can't believe he signed in.
well, and I mean, isn't the friendship out is being there for your friends when they need you?
Absolutely.
Just showing up and saying,
yeah.
"Here I am." What can
We
I do?
both. I can barely read that. What's it say?
We both have seen each other at our best and worst, for sure, he says.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Thank you, Stella.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do you want to tape this part down a little more?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
But
Getting a little health care.
There you go.
like any urgency to you, P?
I feel it now.
Yeah. You want to try maybe?
It's not that urgent. We're having some plumbing issues flowing.
Oh.
And they're I'm taking Flomax, and everybody here is curious as to see when my next time I'm gonna go. So I better start drinking water. Yeah, lime Kool-Aid and Jack Daniels was we skipped, me and this other guy, Bobby, I won't give his last name, Jack Daniels and lime Kool-Aid because we couldn't figure out anything else to mix it with.
Yes.
And I woke up, passed out, and in a whole lot of trouble.
Oh, yes. Last night at 11:45 was actual anniversary, but by the time the paramedics resumed CPR for me and worked on her for a half hour before pronouncing her dead. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. That's
oh man.
Yeah, I
How do you?
words. I'm so sorry.
How do you? It's just like me the other night with you guys. there's just nothing to compare it to in my life
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
to even try to empathize.
Yeah.
I survived the trolls asking me how much I enjoyed feeling her ribs and diaphragm crack, trying to perform CPT. Oh my gosh, people like that are vile.
I don't
Uh, they would not
be
they
with
would not stay in the troll the
why would
chat.
you do that? Why would you do that with the gift of life that you've been given? Why? Why would you talk to anybody like that? And I swear to God as my witness, anybody
That's
in this place, you don't get warning. You're out of here. Period.
Yeah.
that's just another form of mental illness about wanting to make yourself feel better through getting a reaction out of somebody, and a lot of times a painful one.
That's
That just
unacceptable.
doesn't compute either.
Unacceptable.
Yeah.
No, I've got my eyeball on the chat, so don't worry about that.
Right on.
As I perform CPR, he said.
Okay. Oh man.
But
Oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm so sorry for what people said to you.
yeah.
What the ever loving? What is wrong with people? Why? That's what's behind my video. Why do people have to suck?
Right.
Why would you do that with the gift of life? So many people don't get to keep their life that could do some good and say some nice things in the world and spread love and joy and goodness and kindness. And then, other people get to carry on and behave like that and talk to people like that. What the hell?
Not to make this about me, but I am legitimately afraid I'm going to die before I get a chance to do some of the stuff I want to do. And this is the type of stuff I want to do right here. Let's keep it like this, and maybe somebody will jump on and we'll be able to help them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Until your channel blows up, and then then you'll have to figure out another way to do it. But
Well, I know that I and my methods aren't for everybody, so I don't anticipate being a big humongo channel. I just don't see that.
if you stay you're fine.
I don't have anyone else to be, so I mean.
I know exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you don't try to be,
for 58 years, so I don't know what else I would do with
Right.
it, with my bad self. I mean,
there's that's not even human behavior.
No, it's not. I don't know. I don't even know what to call that.
Asked me to help her to the bathroom. I did. We made it halfway there, slid off my arm and down the wall, looked at me. Oh,
Oh,
Steve.
oh.
I missed that one.
Asked me to help her to the bathroom. I did. We made it halfway there, slid off my arm and down the wall, looked up at me, and said she loved me and died.
Oh.
Right.
That takes my breath away. Whew.
I don't even know how I don't even know how you get through something like that.
Neither.
No.
I don't either.
No.
Oh my God.
Here, Steve. I'm glad you're here, and if we can help you at all in every other way, you got us.
Yeah.
Whether you want to or not. Cradle robber, chick flick and all.
Send me a PM after the show. We are talking.
Right Right on.
That's, I mean, you know, in one way I look at it, and her last words to you were she loves you. You know, like what a beautiful last word to hear from your wife. You know, I mean, it wasn't a good situation clearly, but I love you is, I mean, you get to keep those words in your heart.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
And this stuff happens every day online.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. It's inhuman.
Mhm.
There's no way you can hold on your humanity talking to people like that and behaving that way.
You could
No.
be sitting next to that person in Starbucks and not even know it.
Mm.
I just don't understand what would make someone behave that
I
way.
don't understand.
You know, like that there's just absolutely no, like, how much do you not like yourself that you have to go out and say things like that to people? Because, you know, like, you're not, it's not like you're trolling someone famous. I mean, we love you, Steve. You're famous in our circle. But, you know, I mean, to just go after another human, like, trolls, I probably know the one are evil. Trolls are evil.
Mm.
They are evil. And especially when they're, you know, if you're talking about something like in a safe place like this, and then someone says something like that.
There's not a word in human language to describe what that person is. There are no words to adequately categorize that person
Mm.
as
Mm-mm.
as
Categorize that as a big, huge nothing. And I don't know why anybody would want to be a nothing with the gift of life they've been given. That's just a big fat zero. They have just zeroed themselves out behaving that way, talking that way. Why would you do that?
Seventh, are you doing okay with your sobriety and everything today? Are you doing good? Like,
That's a great question,
is there
Christy.
anything that you need? Because I mean, I could imagine.
Steve G, are you thinking about climbing back in for a day, a lapse? Because we'd sure like it if you didn't.
You know, but it's at the same time, you know, everybody's got their journey and how they're gonna walk it, and there's no you know,
Phil's
we accept you regardless if you are or you aren't, and I hope you and I think you know that. But yes, 100%. I don't blame anybody for doing anything as far as, you know,
no.
being in the life. It's a
Yeah.
hard time to be alive.
Phil's on to she loved me. Hold on to she loved me. Yeah. You know, I think love overcomes so much hate, so much nastiness, so much. And to know that you got to in your lifetime experience a love like that, and that those were the beautiful last words that were said, that just holding on to that is so important. And what a beautiful gift she gave you in that moment. Like, you know, I mean, it was absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure it was genuine and from the heart, and she wasn't like thinking it that way, but that was a beautiful, beautiful thing
No,
to.
that was her last thought. She wanted him to know that because she was going and she knew it. That was her last thought.
Let me.
Now we have a comic relief moment. I don't mean to laugh at your pain, Lemmy, but
No.
Yeah, you missed something.
oh my goodness. Oh, poor Lemmy. I'm sorry.
You know, you can ask Steve Hartman that just came in. He's probably not still here, but he was the best man at my wedding, and he'll tell you that my wife and I have that kind of love for each other.
Yeah.
And
Are you okay, Lemmy? We love you. We love you. My goodness.
yes, we do.
Is that
Hard to
Seventh Son?
breathe.
Is that? Oh my goodness, Lemmy. I'm sorry. Is it out?
In through the nose,
You
out
said
through the
that you
mouth,
had
brother.
your
Just
disease? Is that what started the troll behavior? Is that what
I
you're
think
talking about, Seventh Son? So in deep breaths, Lemmy.
all because Tommy said addiction is a
I
disease.
wonder if that's in relation to the troll doing the thing.
Oh yeah. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a Christian that doesn't get to say what he really wants to say.
Oh dear.
I hate to categorize people, but
Is it stuck in your nose or in your esophageal area? Okay. Good. Good, Seventh Son. Oh my goodness. Unreal. Unreal.
man, I don't know what I missed as far as the smart workbook, but having the guest on, well, not, playing his video, and then this,
Oh, okay.
I'm so glad I found this
Trying to
channel.
cough it up. Okay. 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 Hey, Steve. How can Lemmy get a piece of rice unstuck from his esophagus? He has a piece of rice stuck in his esophagus. How can he get it out?
In his airway?
Yeah, his esophagus.
Youch.
How can he get it out?
He can cough it out. Is one way.
Bread might take it down.
Bread might take it down.
Well, you don't want it going down your esophagus. You want to get it coughed
no.
out.
No, you do.
Oh,
Yeah, you do. That's what you want it going down your esophagus. Sounds like his went down his airway.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I would try to I would eat something like a piece of apple with peanut butter or a cracker and swallow that and drink something to try to get that to go down. Eat a whole bunch of small bites that you have to drink a lot to try to pull it.
Our bodies are pretty in tune with how to fix what's inside them. It'll work itself out, hopefully.
Hopefully it's not the airway. That's tougher.
Yeah.
It's no fun. I know that.
Larynx, my bad.
Okay. Larynx.
Larynx is that's what opens and closes between the esophagus and the airway.
Okay.
So
So it's just right there in that.
It's no fun.
Yeah.
I would try to cough it out. Try to eat something.
I wouldn't consider anything we talked about tonight fun.
Joy
No.
in hurting good people. Well, he comes here. He will not come again.
Whew.
And yes, thank you for sharing that beautiful moment with us,
Mm-hmm.
Seventh Son.
Oh,
Seventh son.
Mm-hmm. We have 5 Steves now.
5 Steves.
It's a chick flick and 5 Steves.
when Carol looked up the family tree a while back, she looked up some of the Shermans, and all of us, and you go back to the 1500s. I mean, there's 11 kids in families, lots of times.
Yeah. Some of your back there's had 12 kids.
And there'll be almost always, people don't realize how infant mortality has changed so much, because in the old days, it was mother and child that would die sometimes during labor. I would see a grandpa with 2 grandmothers, and one would have died at the first or second child, and then he would remarry, and there'd be 9 more kids. Or
no 7th. No, Steve. He is not that Steve Hartman. He's a financial planner.
I wish I had some finances I could plan.
Yeah, you and me both.
They've already been.
He said, he said if it was fun, everybody would do it, but it's not. And that's why I do it, because the money's good and it's not fun.
Yeah. You know, if it's like anything else, you end up doing your best work for other people. And for yourself, it's kind of a teeter-totter or a set of dominoes. You just about get it, and then the teeter-totter falls or swings, and you got to stack all the pieces up again. And so when you see somebody with 1/10 the problems you have, it's easy and it looks like you're doing great, but it's because they had a easier row to hoe. They just didn't know it.
I don't know if you caught this, Steve, but Steve Hartman is my best friend of 42 years.
42 years. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, his dad is my dad, his son and daughter are my daughter and son, and
that's amazing.
Yeah.
My best friend lives about 100 and something miles away that I've had since I was 12 years old. He's back in good health after a few bouts of things can come out of nowhere. He was in perfect health and had a diverticuli and had to have an ostomy, and they have.
Why would you stay? Why would you stay in this? This is just getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Scroll back a couple, Carol, and put that one up.
I hate to run, but I'm kind of getting ready for work. I've got to work an extra night.
Yeah, he is an extra night.
All right, Steve-O.
Have a safe night.
Carol's turning on the bright lights, so it's getting serious now.
It's fried lice, you prick. You prick.
Fried lice. I love that joke. They probably don't know it.
It would not fly now.
Oh, you couldn't say gleek plick now, fried lice. But you could, and I loved that joke back when it was kosher.
Well, you can't say kosher now either. It was in one of the Lethal Weapon movies, too, that fried lice.
I believe it was.
My troll was death. And when I was sick, they were posting that they hoped what?
Yeah. Why would you stay in that chat or that format?
Yeah, I wouldn't even be around that. I have a limited amount of time I can offer people, and it sure isn't going to be to that, folks.
Yeah.
It's
we're glad you're here today.
Yes. I'm so glad you're enjoying your best sober life, Lene. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very proud of you. Very proud.
Oh, Lene, I didn't even see that. That's so cool. Yeah, these have been the last happiest 14 years of my life.
Awesome.
Red will coat the object and make it easier to go down.
They posted on my channel. Ugh.
Oh,
Why didn't you zap them?
yeah. Whew. Lordy. Well, I don't want to spend any more time talking about people that are not worth talking about.
That's just
No, they might have something in their life worth talking about, and I hope that that's what they decide to, make the focus of their life instead of doing what they're doing.
Right.
That's just
Carol.
unnecessary. Yeah.
When we have our moment of silence, can I just say a short, quick, regular prayer?
Of course. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Block, block, block. They get to go through life being blocked, blocked, blocked.
Right. Right. As it should be.
As it should be.
As it should be.
I'm surrounded by people that are just wanting nothing but to take right now in this hospital. And just that's the opposite end of the spectrum of this is human life at its best right here.
We do our best. We do what we can to make this world a little bit nicer place to live in,
Yeah.
That's I feel like that's my life's mission right now.
Yeah, I agree. And if we have to sit here and spend hours until somebody comes on, and if we spend 100 hours on the air and it helps one person, it's been worth it.
100%. That's how I feel. That's 100% how I feel. One person is one person that, might have slipped through the cracks and not on my watch if possible.
That person might end up being a motivational / evangelist / whatever and lead 1,000 people out of addiction. And if he found help on your channel,
It's our channel. What do you mean? It's needing a meeting. This ain't the Carol Klingon Targ Herder show.
No, but
coming on here by myself. When I was first doing this, I was by myself. Ew.
Well, and I think it's fun when you have varying opinions and like different perspectives. And
I do too.
It would be really hard to come on and just.
That's why I'm not saying, there's the only thing really off limits is having an opinion about somebody else, other than support.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only opinion that counts around here is a supportive opinion.
Right.
And if it's not that, it doesn't get to be here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get to take up space and time here.
Well, I tell you, you ladies have certainly given me a different perspective on a lot of things, and it's really been an epiphany for me in so many different ways, like trying to get me to understand things that I didn't even try to understand before.
We didn't try to get you to understand anything.
But
chose to understand some things.
But when you made yourselves vulnerable and talked about it, that's when I started to try to understand.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, and understanding is just power because it's one more way you can help someone. It's one more way that
they don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
If you're putting forth the effort to understand
and
giving your attention to understanding, that it helps you feel less alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think too, it also makes you realize how helpful we as people can be to other people and everything. Time is wealth, especially.
Time is wealth, especially with your lawyer. That's quite a fortune cookie there.
Even fortune cookies are getting sarcastic and sad these days.
That's funny.
Well, I don't know. Does everybody feel like we've had a meeting? Anybody need a meeting? A 2 if you still need a meeting, a 3 if you're good. Good to go in the chat there. Because if we got any 2s, we will have a meeting about
Yes.
whatever it is.
For as long as it takes.
Yeah. Got a
Candy's
3.
good.
Very good. Very good. 3 is like a heart, and 2 is, yeah, unloading. Let's put it that way. So we don't have to be quite as crude.
I liked your thinking behind it, though.
Well, let's end it on a good note. I hadn't had a bowel movement since Monday, and I finally had one today.
Very good.
There you go. That's good.
Good.
You guys just put on such a poker face because you thought, why in the world is he so disgusting?
I mean, we all have those, but I mean, I'm glad you were able to, because that is a terrible thing to go through, is not having one.
Oh,
Not good.
I'm heading out to record the drunk college students bar hopping in costumes.
Okay.
Let me know where I can.
He's got a channel.
Does he?
Yes, Lemmy. If is it Lemmy the Pacifist? Is that the channel you're posting it on, Lemmy? So yeah, if you click on his name in YouTube, it'll take you to his channel.
Okay.
Well, be safe while doing that.
Yes, please be safe.
And
Yeah.
if you need to keep somebody safe, keep people safe.
And there should be
Good.
you know what? People are worried about security checks for gun controls. There should be background checks for people who want to buy keyboards.
Unfortunately, that's not even in the works.
Yeah.
If you go not here, I don't think in Restream, but if you go over to YouTube and click on his name in the chat, it'll take you to his channel.
And who else has a channel? I know Misha does.
Candy does.
Candy does?
And Misha.
I didn't know.
I don't know if Misha's here tonight.
I didn't see her.
I haven't seen her.
I'm recording with an autistic 1A auditor. Okay. All right.
I don't know what that means.
Well, he likes to go through and just film publicly, and they call it auditing, I guess.
Oh,
we'll need you to help us understand why it's called auditing and what it exactly is and entails and all that. One of these days,
that's a Scientology word.
As part of the theme. There are already background checks for buying firearms. Yeah, and then Candy's putting a link to her channel there.
All right.
If you want, hey Candy, if Lemmy posts his link in the chat there, can you copy and paste it and put it up for him? Okay, thank you for posting that, Candy.
Lemmy, I wish you would come on live with us one time so we can.
One of these days, I know you will, Lemmy. When you're ready, no hurries.
No.
Eat more Chinese food.
Love that. Well, if everybody feels like well, if everybody feels like we've had a meeting, how about a moment of silence? Good, Seventh Son, thank you for the person out there still suffering in their addiction,
Are we doing
the
shit
person
things?
who's struggling in their recovery, because we know that's real, and also those we've loved and lost. And then we'll follow that with Steve is going to pray.
Very, very short.
Numbers are fine.
Whenever
Father,
you're
let
ready.
us come to you now, just on behalf of our friends, Steve
Mhm,
and
and
Steve, and and Lord,
especially Steve.
heal their hearts and don't let them suffer. Let them remember the good things and just be with them tonight. Give them some comfort. Give them some rest. And God bless every one of the people that come on this channel
Yeah.
and try to make it a better place. And we ask all of these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Wonderful.
You never know when an angel will appear. That's so true, Lene.
Yeah.
That's a good one to leave up as we're saying good night. I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you
Yeah.
for being here. We love you.
Deuces.
We'll talk
Peace.
to you soon, you guys.
All
All
right. Have
right.
a good night.
All right.
Good night.
Y'all. Good night. And thank you for being here.